Welcome back. We got Austin in the flesh. We got Josh finally on. And this is an exciting week. We got a lot of fun questions, a lot of things going back and forth, and we are getting tight in the race here.
We are.
So I think we can just hop right into last week, get last week done with, so we can get into some fun questions.
Yeah. Alrighty.
All right. So is this the game we are starting with?
Yeah, we'll start here with Luke and Dan. It's actually a huge game.
Yeah, and Luke continues to prove me right about him coming back. Dude, he's had 2 monster weeks. The Dalvin Cook thing is a thing that's been impressive because Dalvin Cook's been going off, although one of them was like an 80-yard touchdown.
Yeah.
So I don't know how relevant really that is. And he continues to start DK, which is funny because like DK is such a wild card, but he's been doing decent enough.
I mean, he doesn't really have anyone else to play in DK's spot.
Mooney, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, there's not a ton there. But yeah, Dan finally, the firepower kind of just leveled out. He didn't really even have Cooper Kupp got injured, which was kind of hurt him a lot. But even if Cooper Kupp had a monster game, Luke 156, I mean.
It does hurt me seeing Tony on this team when I picked him up super early. And I had to drop him because I needed a freaking quarterback this week.
Yeah. And we did a small trade. It's
well,
not...
you've dropped half the players in fantasy. So.
It's true. If you pick up enough players, you're going to be heartbroken when one of them does well.
I think I called you this week and I told you, Steve, that I have double the transactions than anybody else in the league right now.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure that's how that works every year.
Yeah. If there was like a spread on that, it would be minus ridiculous odds for you.
Dude, that'd be so funny if we did like a spread for that, and I didn't know anything about it. And at the end of the year, people like hit or not.
Oh, yeah, you'd win every year. I'm pretty sure if we were to somehow be able to go back 5 years, you would be top in every single one.
I think so, yeah.
But but back to this game. Luke's looking good, but one thing I'm worried about with his team going forward is the Raiders are a complete disaster. Mm-hmm. And yes, Devontae got good points, but like, what happens? Like, do they just fall apart? Do they just? Because there's been some, I don't know, the videos coming out of there, like Derek Carr upset and Devontae tweeting and stuff.
Does Josh McDaniels last the year there? I don't know if he does.
Yeah. It's not like they're going to stop throwing.
Yeah, to me, Devontae's success is not contingent on the Raiders doing well. Like, he's done well, and they haven't done well.
If anything, them losing helps them because they're just going to be trying to come back.
Right.
I just think, like, that, what's happening with the Raiders is so weird. I feel like the team could just fall apart. I don't know. But I do think that after last week, Justin Jefferson is an animal. And that trade was terrible, but Luke's still doing well with it going on. I think he would be a monster if he still had Justin Jefferson, though.
And then he also has Justin Fields really, really coming into fruition, too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, but Justin Fields has like 360 yards rushing over the last 2 games. Like, he can't keep that up. There's no way. But still, I mean, he's become an actual fantasy quarterback, and that's what Luke needed the most. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then we go to Dan's side, who he's had Goff, Kirk Cousins, I don't know, all these random guys, and he's just hoping for anything, honestly.
Matthew Stafford.
Yeah, Matthew Stafford, which, oh my gosh, he is terrible this year. What is happening with the Rams? The Rams are bad. But
another thing I love to see, CH doing shit.
Yeah. I mean, we all kept saying he was going to go back there. I remember Austin was saying that a bunch. He's like, he's going to go back to shit.
It was like he had a couple of good games at the beginning of the season, and they were both like 2 touchdown games and like 15 yards.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember I was like, he's finally not good. And Austin was like, no, he's never been good. He's only gotten touchdowns. But
remember how much hype there was for that guy when he came into the league like 3 years ago?
You drafted him like 2 years in a row, didn't you? Yep, that's why you hit him so
I only drafted him once. I only fell for that one time.
Yeah. So it's you and Austin who got boned the most in the league from first 3 years.
Yeah, like he was coming out of college, everyone's like, he's going to be the greatest thing ever.
I think a part of that was because like the last guy that came out was Kareem Hunt. When he came out, he was just a monster for KC, and people probably thinking the same thing, and it just wasn't that way. But yeah, not much to say about this game. I mean, this whole week there wasn't a ton of super close games, honestly.
No. Austin, Josh, how about you lead on this one here?
Oh, let's talk about kids. This is a great game. I do feel like my team has been so frustrating all year, where like I haven't wanted to make a ton of huge moves because
we're having a little bit of mic issues. I don't think it's. I don't know. Your mic's kind of staticking.
I think that's just his internet.
Yeah.
140.
He's unbothered, though.
He's unfazed. Josh, you there?
Josh, you there? We're kind of cutting out here.
Yeah, his whole.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, you might
Get
be
your
back?
producer to edit this out. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I just realized he changed his name to the GOAT, which is, I don't know, maybe he's feeling a little high after this week, I guess.
In the words of one of his favorite coaches, pride comes before the fall. So
But yeah, exactly. But Josh, go again and say what you're saying. We couldn't really hear you there for that.
Oh, I was saying it's been so frustrating for me all year because I still don't know if my team is good or not. Because I'll get weeks like this, and then the next week I'll score 95.
Yeah.
hey, don't shit on 95. 95 is a good score.
That's above average for Paul.
Yeah,
okay?
that's a good week.
I will say one big thing for Josh this week though is the Zach Ertz injury. Now you're going from a pretty consistent tight end to going back to the waiver wire hell of tight ends.
Yeah.
Yeah, my only hope is that Justin Fields' magic keeps working for
Komet.
Komet. Because the waiver wire is bleak.
Yeah.
Is Komet
I feel
healthy
like-
this week?
I think he is, right?
Zach Ertz was a very comfortable middle class tight end, where he's nowhere near as good as Kelsey or Andrews, but he was at least decent.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was one
I
of the
don't
ones.
think there's really any other middle class tight ends out there.
Yeah. When I was trading for Andrews, I actually went to you before I got Andrews because I was like, we got the top dogs, and then if I have to settle for Ertz or something, because Ertz was like the next guy up, I felt like. So that still is a pretty tough hit.
I mean, he's not even middle of the road. He was number 3, and that's with
Yeah.
the 2-point week.
But I think the
The
big
difference
drop-off,
between him and number 2 is just massive.
yeah, exactly.
True.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah, and the other thing about my team is we'll see if Jonathan Taylor is anything close to the player I drafted down the stretch. My team could be dangerous. Like, this is the first week, really, where I got Jonathan Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Jeff Saturday is undefeated as an NFL coach, and he's given Taylor the ball. So, we're optimistic, but...
Yeah, and on Austin's side, like, he didn't get any players that got single digits. Even, like, Josh Allen, not even the greatest week, got 20 points, but still, like, the points come up pretty poor, honestly.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, just like a lot of just over that double digit mark. A lot of 10-point players there.
Well, when your running back 2 is Darrell Henderson, the road's
Well, no,
kind of bleak.
I think the real downfall for Austin here was the kicker. Just an utter choke job.
That is true. I've been having some struggles with Young Ho because I love him, but he has not been doing well for my team.
I think he did really well the week he had the jersey on.
That's
and then
true.
you came out without the jersey, and then he just 3 points. Terrible performance. Josh, the thing about your team is, like, I heard something that was CD's first game over 100 yards, and he
Yeah,
went
it was.
off. So with Dak back, that might be a absolute massive boom for you that could actually get you into the playoffs, just having a few big weeks.
Yeah.
Well, and Tony Pollard. Like, if Dallas is smart and just makes him the starter,
I know.
I'm good. But they keep talking about bringing Zeke back, even though Zeke has been garbage this year.
Yeah, and Pollard looks way better. They just pay Zeke more. It's the typical
Yeah,
issue
it's
that
just
happens.
stupid.
It happens in it happens all the time. Pay him more, the other guy's better. They usually start the guy they pay. But I think in this case, since you got Jerry Jones and those Dallas Cowboys, I think Pollard will be really good and starting.
Yeah.
But
Austin, anything to say about this game?
No, I mean, pretty much what everyone else has said here so far. I've obviously got a bit of a hole at RB2, but I do think that James Robbins' season has arrived.
well, you do owe me $100 for that bet. Mostert destroyed Henderson. Not even close.
We'll just have to go double or nothing this week.
I'm down. I'll figure something out. You don't want to bet against Ramondre. I'll put Ramondre up. All right.
Oh, no. Not Ramondre.
Ramondre with Mike Evans. Ramondre, Mike Evans. Boom. I'll slap some on the table.
So are we guys good on this game? Should we go next? Okay. The toilet bowl.
What Austin said was the biggest game of the week.
Yeah.
Because this was, if Paul loses this, he's basically guaranteed last or really close to it. Able to, in the best worst teams versus worst teams, come out with a 100-85 win. I mean, this is just a worst teams battle. I loved it. But yeah, I mean, just barely got over. Alex's team, like I I'm actually shocked he got 85 points. Like, look at the way he scored. It looks terrible. It doesn't look like it adds up to 85. But
So there's just a couple confusing things to me when you look at his team. How is Debo so bad? Like, what happened?
yeah, I don't know. He hasn't been solid this year at all.
Yeah.
I think what I saw with McCaffrey is, oh my gosh, they do like everything around McCaffrey.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like, hey, this is what we put all our money into. Like, we put our eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's taking away from Debo, but I don't know. It's a pretty bizarre thing in San Fran right now.
And it is really nice to see that Najee's being typical Najee this year, just not on my team.
Do you know how many points Sutton got last week, Austin? By chance, was it anything at all?
I want to say no. I think it was like, wait, like this week? Or?
No, this week we're going over.
No, he had 12 points.
Okay, 12. Because I see Jerry Jeudy had 0. I don't know if he got injured or something, but Denver continues to be a team that you just don't want any of their players in your lineup at all.
I still, like, it's still Russell Wilson, and I still think that at some point Cortland Sutton can get back to, like, what you would think a Cortland Sutton and Russell Wilson combo would give you, but it's just not gone that way so far.
It does look like he got hurt at pretty early. He had one target and then ankle injury early. Yeah, he had one target. Yeah, must have got hurt.
Okay, yeah. But yeah, the best thing to use, I think, is their defense. Their defense is actually good, but they also get Wade Bradley Chubb, so who knows? But yeah, this is the battle of shit shows. Paul pulls it off, so now we still don't know who's going to be last. They still got some battles to go off. Apparently, this is the perfect playout for you to get last.
No,
This is what I keep hearing.
I'm not worried. It's also good for you where you can still get last.
This is
still a
ridiculous.
chance. We'll
so
talk
this is what
about
I told
this
Paul.
later.
No, I'm going to talk about it right now.
Okay.
This is what I told Paul. I have 5 wins, okay? There's no way the worst person in the league has 5 wins. If it is, they're tied, and they're not going to beat me in points for. There's just not. There's just no way. So there's actually no way I don't see how that's possible.
It is possible.
And then look at when we go to who I'm playing this week, and like he's starting, it's impossible.
Okay.
But yeah, that's it from the shit bowl.
So the really big game for me and my team just didn't show up. I'm very disappointed.
Well, 100 points is a good week for you.
Hey, I think I did call Steve and tell him I scored 100, but I left so much on my bench. Like, I just outplayed myself. I didn't play Rondell Moore. I didn't play Connor. Steve told me to play Connor.
Yeah, he called me. He's like, I don't know who to play. I was like, I really think Connor's got a big comeback week. And then Paul does what he does, which whatever he wants. So, but this is Hackett written all over it. I know we kind of stopped going to the Hackett, but
No, this is definitely Hackett.
you talk shit about Mark, and this is pretty. I mean, Foreman's been playing amazing too. I don't even know why you wouldn't start him.
I was worried about the Hurricane.
The Hurricane?
He played like in a hurricane.
Oh, well, that means they're gonna run the ball more. Isn't that what that means?
But that also means he could fumble the ball more
Okay.
and like get keyed in. Like
Yeah, no, like I don't disagree with your starting picks there. Like Cordarrelle, Patterson, and DeAndre Swift were off the injury report at this point. Like I don't really see myself starting James Conner or Deontay Foreman over them, but that is just a painful loss for you.
Yeah. The weird
Now, how many times on this podcast has Paul said that Mark is going to defeat himself this season? And he wasn't worried about Mark for that reason.
Off the top of my head, I could probably say at least 7.
so.
I think every podcast.
So the problem that what happened here, Josh, is we had Mark on the podcast, and he just rubbed off on me too much. He's gone, so good roster moves are going to happen from now out. He might have to be banned from the podcast because his ways are rubbing off on me.
Yeah. But Josh, any
Well,
thoughts
that
on
might
this
be
game?
good for you because his record's looking a lot better.
Ugh.
Yeah. And it is pretty ironic that it happened where he didn't start the right players against Mark. It's pretty hilarious.
Yeah.
But Josh, you got any thoughts on this game specifically? We're having them Wi-Fi issues.
We didn't hear anything you said there, so go ahead and
I think
restart.
Mark's team actually. Oh man, like we talked about tight end earlier with Zach Ertz, and now I'm in this position. But if you don't have Andrews or Kelsey, it's just such a huge hole in that team. And Mark's team looks really good.
Yeah.
It's the one.
He might be the GOAT player, but not the GOAT internet, that's for sure. I feel like you can't hear us either with that.
I don't think so.
It's getting pretty Wi-Fi over
I
there.
can
What?
I can hear you guys now.
Okay.
I don't know what's going on. I'm sorry
Yeah,
about
no,
this.
it's good. It happens. But yeah, it's pretty funny. I know you're talking about tight ends and how big a hole they are, and it's like this week it's 2.1 and 1.8, and we haven't even talked about it because it's just normal. This is just what happens. You put a tight end in, and they'll just blank you like this. Like it just happens.
Man, and I know he didn't have a good game this week, but it pisses me off that Miles Sanders is a good running back this year. He's burned me so many times.
Oh yeah.
And this year's draft, I could have taken him a couple times.
I mean, he's still been
Didn't want to do it again.
He's still been in Miles Sanders territory. Like, he's had a couple good weeks, but like, he's still what is that, running back 19? Like, that's not great by any means.
No.
He still is that guy that you don't feel comfortable putting in the starting lineup.
Exactly.
He's done better than previous years, but yeah.
I think he was like running back 35 when I had him. So
Yeah. Yeah, well, I guess it's a lot better from there.
You know what's kind of crazy? I just noticed this now. Miles Sanders and David Montgomery get the same amount of points. How often did that happen?
I don't know.
That's crazy.
It was pretty crazy.
But yeah, no, this one was pretty cut and dry. He beat me. Pretty much knocks me out of playoff contention. I think I still have a 2% chance according to ESPN. I know probably a less chance according to Austin. But there's still a sliver.
Okay, well.
But right now we're worried about different things of just not getting the ball right now.
Yeah, exactly, as you should.
And
in this
then,
game, unfortunate game, I had so many players out. Ramondre, the team leader. I mean, I predicted myself to lose this game last week. So, and I had a chance with A.J. Brown, and then that Eagles game was a disaster. So, but at least Mostert got more points than Henderson. That's all I can really give from this week. It was unfortunate because it was there. Like I felt like I just needed a few more performances. Like Vinny's team didn't play well, but just couldn't get anything. Kamara just kind of shit the bed, but that happens. Whatever. I still think I'm in a fine spot.
to be fair, 5 wins in the season is a good thing, and you should rest your laurels on that. We might not get any more.
My point is Austin and Dan lost, right? So like even on 5-5, everyone else 6-4. So I'm still a game off.
Yeah.
Still a game off. So it's really anybody's.
The thing is, I just don't know how you're winning another game.
All right, well, look to the future. But yeah, I mean, this nothing super special about this game. It was just the top 4 guys for Vinny that just carried him to victory.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, did you have anything on that, Austin?
No, yeah, it is starting, like, I would start to get to the spot for Vinny to maybe question if, like, where Kittle is. Like, Kittle does not seem to be anywhere close to that top tier of tight ends.
Not
Like,
even close, yeah.
So he, even though that's, like, kind of a higher draft pick than some of the other ones, I think pretty much still in the same camp if everyone else is, like, that struggling tight end.
Yeah, and we were talking about Miles Sanders at running back 19. He's tight end 18.
Yeah.
You want to talk about how shit somebody's been.
I mean, to be fair, he's not played 3 weeks, but still, that's just 6, 4, 7. Couple nice weeks here, then. But
Yeah.
when Vince's team is really scary for the first like couple spots, I think it's pretty top heavy because the flex could start there.
yeah,
For a second, when Juju was going insane for like, he did it for 2 weeks or 3 weeks in a row, it looked like, okay, Vinny might be really scary.
Mm-hmm.
And then he might
That's
be coming
true.
back to reality here. Yeah, it was 3 weeks.
well, I think he's hurt now too. Yeah, he's out.
Oh, he's out. And then
Yeah.
Kadarius Toney's. So even when he comes back, you got some people who
And
can fill that void.
That's another former one of my players here, former Kyler.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them.
We sprinkled them through the league.
Does Paul have a player that's been on his team on every team?
that
would be a question.
So I guess that's pretty cut and dry.
Yeah, and that's really all last week. There wasn't really any like super close nail biters, really. I mean, there was the best game was the shit show of the week,
Yeah.
and then mine was probably second if AJ Brown would have scored some more points, but
Yeah.
didn't do it. But so yeah, now we're gonna be hopping into right to the power rankings.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. We'll get right into that.
All right. I do have the screen share. Okay. I forgot to update the title of this week's power rankings, but it's probably still applicable. Mark is probably still angry about not receiving any respect at some point. So.
Is Mark ranked number 1?
Did Mark get no respect this week? Is that what you're saying?
Well, the question is he ranked number 1?
No.
Then he's gonna.
No,
be
but I
best.
will say this. Mark last week, the most mad I've ever seen him on a
Yes.
anybody who's been on a podcast. I mean, that was crazy. Man just lost it.
Yeah, so I forgot to change it, but it's still fitting. We have, again, pretty much 2 tiers this week. It's not East versus West, so everyone can calm down off of that one.
Thank you.
But it is pretty much, at this point, teams fighting not to be last, and then teams fighting to actually make the playoffs. So tier 2 fighting for the date night. Last place, we have Al. Again, he lost the toilet bowl. Is not really an active participant at all here. We have added for this secondary tier here, in addition to playoff chance, since that's just going to be a goose egg, we do have the doll chance here now. So I put Al at about 50% chance. Any comments, agreements, disagreements from the other members here?
I mean, lost the shit bowl.
Yeah.
What else can you say? I mean,
if he shows any bit of life, maybe he can get a little bit less than 50% chance, but I think being 50 is very gracious.
If Mixon scores 50 a game.
yeah, that was like the only time that's
Definitely played me.
But yeah, he's 10 and he'll probably stay 10.
Yeah. All right. Next up here, we have Paul Florzak. Also looks like I missed a number here, so he's number 9. Again, he won the toilet bowl, so he gets to move up a little bit. Paul is still playing hard, so I don't think that he's going to drop back into that last spot here. He does not want to go on that date with that doll. So he's got a slightly lower chance, but obviously he's still very real, sitting at 3-7 there.
Yeah.
I think it's fine to mark him at 10. I mean, they could both be 10.
I think so too. It's like
he won
10A and 10B.
He won the biggest game he's had this year, but they're still the same record. So
Yeah.
Right.
I don't disagree with anything that you've said so far.
Well, that's about to change.
I know it
It is.
is. So the only way I wouldn't disagree with you is Call of Duty 2 Warzone came out this week, and he's probably not playing Kyler at all this week. So my team is just dead. We have no heart.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
your team was dead before Call of Duty came out.
This is just a nail in the coffin.
Paul just wanted to
Like
draft.
Call of Duty.
He wanted to draft Kyler so that he already had a built-in excuse for what was going to happen to his team before it even started falling apart.
And incorporate it into his name, that's actually kind of brilliant.
Just really leaning into that joke.
I think you should actually, go after Kyler, follow after Kyler's footsteps. You should probably just stop playing fantasy football, start playing COD more, because this is done. You're done.
I might be more effective, honestly. But I love that you gave me some respect. 5% chance of the playoffs. I appreciate it.
Yeah, he said
I think
2.
that's
We
one
said
of
lower
the
that to 2. He said 2.
That is true. I've pretty much been only doing increments of 5, and mathematically I can't give you 0, but so I gave you 5, but it's
Thank
probably
you.
closer to around 2.
Thank you.
All right.
Oh no.
I love this pick. It's a new one every week.
Wow.
7?
Your team is not good. It just keeps winning.
This might be the only
My
time.
team just destroyed your team.
You had a great week. You've had 6 very lucky weeks, but your team is just still not good.
I don't know if we'll ever see a 6-4 team at 7 again. This is disrespect, Josh. How do you feel about this?
No, it's okay. I mean, if I were Kim Jong-un, I'd probably be launching the nukes right now, but I'm not. Good for Austin and everyone else.
Well, I did give you happy Kim Jong this week because you did get the win.
Very clear distinction. I like that. Now the next person, does it go in order of playoff chance?
No,
Okay.
because it does vary because like East versus West and all of that. So
Okay.
so I mean, Josh still have a 25% chance of the playoffs. You're not completely out of it. I think I actually meant to put you in the first tier, but it's just maybe a Freudian slip. He just deserves to be in that second tier.
Well, you can only trend up from here, I think, Josh. Right? So.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. If I lose to Paul this week, call it the season.
Yeah.
Please beat Paul. Please.
Just 110. You just need to get like 110. You'll be fine.
All right. So then we have our top tiers of the teams that are in actual playoff contention. And at number 6, we do have Steve. He did lose, so has the look for the team, but he just can't really overcome that record, or at least haven't so far. So again, still an obvious playoff percent chance of like 35 because you're only a game behind, but the end of the season's getting closer and closer, so you gotta come back eventually.
Yeah, and I'm not too worried because I had so many players on bye, and now it's flipping in my favor this week. Now I'm playing someone who is against the odds, so I'm not too worried about this. It's just got to take care of the Vinny's. I think it's Vinny, right? I'm playing Vinny or Dan? No, I'm playing Dan.
Yeah, I've got Vinny this week.
Who's got some tough stuff.
Yeah,
So.
Dan's got. Maybe, we'll get into that. Dan's gonna have a rough week. Any comments from Paul or Josh on this one here?
You know what? My prediction's coming true. He is dropping like a rock. He might be in for fighting for the doll next week. Who knows?
No comment.
All right. With that, we then have power rankings equals dem vote counts. The biggest hater of the power rankings currently. He did win, so he did move up. I'm a little bit happy about that, but still just don't love the look to his team. I think Luke is the hottest team in that division, and that division just kind of sucks. So I think this is a fair spot for him.
Yeah, right outside the playoffs at 5. He's gonna hate it though because he's leading his division, and he's like, I deserved at least top 4. He's gonna be firing off in the chat, in the group chat, but.
First off, I think he needs to get a better name. Like, what even is this? We've already have one player who's owned a horrible name with Dan plus Hawk or whatever the heck that is. Some weird formula. This just it's a poor copycat.
No, I'm all for this with Mark because I do think something is going wrong with these power rankings. We will be investigating. Something was wrong with the voting machines.
And it's another equals in the name. Power rankings equals. I mean, we're getting these weird equations going on here.
All right. From there, we have a very annoying fall from the top of the league in my team. There's just some holes that need to be addressed here. Obviously, like still one of the top teams because I have like the number 1 quarterback, number 1 running back, and number 1 tight end. Apparently that's not enough to actually win the entire season. But I still think I'm in the right direction. I'm still kind of still one of the top teams in the league here.
You really have 3 number 1s?
I think so.
Wow, that's wild. That is crazy. But this is last week. I think was the first time you weren't 1, right? You were 2 in the power rankings,
Right. Yep.
and then now it's 4.
Mm-hmm. Well, I wasn't 1 like in the beginning of the season.
Oh yeah,
a couple weeks.
You have the number 2 quarterback.
At
Josh
this
got passed
pace,
week.
he's going to fall to 8 next week.
Yeah, exactly. So it's trending down. We'll see. And you playing Vinny this week, so it's a big battle.
Yeah, big
matchup
one
this
there.
week.
Austin, who is your 4th best player right now?
Paul, can you pull up my team?
I can, yes.
James Robinson?
He can't even say it. That's how bad it is. He doesn't even know. Cortland
4th
Sutton.
best player. Well,
Wow, that is rough.
it's probably Young Ho Koo, Mike Evans, or Brandon Ayuk. Brandon Ayuk is putting together a nice little season, actually.
That is true.
20th wide receiver.
Well, he started late. Like I feel like he started slow. Yeah, he's been the last 4 weeks. Playing
Well,
well.
he have had solid weeks, yeah.
You would think Mike Evans would be your 4th, but he's just
As soon as Godwin came back, Mike Evans just fell off completely.
He's still a touchdown monster. He's still like what he was last 2 years, where he'll have that 30-point game. It's just are you going to start him?
Mm-hmm.
And who knows?
I think it's very accurate where you have yourself surprising fall from grace.
Yeah.
But still not top 4.
I do have like a pretty extremely low playoff percentage chance given my spot, just because I am just losing faith. Nothing is going my way anymore.
That's crazy at 30% when I think Mark was 55.
Yeah.
Mark at 55, Steve at 35, and myself at 30.
Wow. All right.
Well,
Next we have another little fall from grace here, and he actually updated his team name. I just noticed this right before. So the equation has changed.
But it's still an equation.
It is still an equation, I believe.
oh, it's that.
Wide receivers win cups till cup broke. So I
No,
think
he had something else where it was like Hill minus Cup. I don't remember.
I picture Dan like after this Cup injury, like sitting in his office down in his basement. He's got a big whiteboard, and he's just writing through all these equations to figure out what to plug in Cup's place in this equation here.
It just sounds like it's just broke over there.
Yeah.
It is wild. It's like every time Dan changes the name, it's like we're reading a book. It's like, what are we reading here? And trying to figure out the story. What's the end?
Maybe this is how he puts his kids to sleep. Is like he just reads his fantasy names to them.
Or maybe the kids are coming up.
That would make
more sense.
I like that more. But is there updates on Cup and how is that bad?
Yeah, IR. Yeah.
Oh my.
So like they're saying he might be back for fantasy playoffs, but at this point, who knows if Dan will actually make it to the playoffs again? He's starting McLaurin and Duvernay at wide receiver from his normal Hill Cup combination.
Don't you be sleeping on Duvernay.
And then I forget his flexes. We'll see when we get to it in the future. But his flex is right there. Donovan Peoples-Jones is his flex. So
Hey, he's playing in his hometown today or this week.
oh yeah, that's wild that he got moved to Detroit. That's like never happened.
I don't know.
And then I was hoping to go. We could maybe go to that game, but the tickets. I don't know. I looked and I was like, they're still pretty expensive.
Really? I never even found them for sale.
Yeah, I had to go to several different sites, and I finally found it. The cheapest were like 150. I was like, okay.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
It's
I was pretty sad. I wanted to see them play.
I know.
No, I think that would have been fun.
Mm-hmm. Not if you have Josh Allen, but
Well, I'm facing Nick Chubb, so that would have been great.
yeah, exactly. And all in the snow.
Whoa.
Cool. So at number 2, we have Redhead Redemption. Vinny got a big win last week, right?
Oh.
And so he's also sitting there at the top of the division. Like I said, had some holes exposed on my team. Dan had a giant hole coming on his team recently with this Cup injury. So I think of those top teams in the division, I think Vinny's kind of poised as the number 1 right now.
So not gonna lie, this is cool that he's here, but I'm just more shocked what means that who number 1 is. Like my mind is blown right
Yeah.
now.
I think that's right. I think he's got the best team in the league.
He is going off. It might be a little bit of recency bias, because I mean, I don't know if he can keep up the scores, but I agree he is hot. He is on the high end. The big question for me is, it's the same pictures. I was wondering.
I was
wondering if he got different pictures, but
Well, I completely forgot about that. We'll find one later on. We'll add this to the rankings.
Okay. He needs at least 2 new ones next week.
Yeah. Look, we owe Luke 2 new pictures. This may actually curse his team because he really started going off when I started adding new pictures every week.
yeah.
But yeah, so again, you guys are surprised. Now, one thing to note is that power rankings, these are different than a college like
True.
AP ranking or a college football playoff. It's not necessarily saying who's just the number 1 team. It's kind of who is also that hottest team as they're kind of going through it. And Luke is definitely that right now. Like he's got putting together like just incredible wins. He's at 5-5, so he's only 1 game behind Mark. I think his team is better than Mark's, and again in that division, like very good chance that Luke just finishes the rest of the season undefeated.
Yeah. And Paul, when he saw Vinny at 2, he looked at me. He's like, "Whoa," because Luke's 1.
Yeah.
And I agree. He's a high end. I think it was shocking because if the playoffs were to go today, he'd be the 6th best team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I agree, he's on a hot hand, but he still has a lot of stuff to get over. So this is only setting him up to possibly trend downward from a bad week. But we'll see. We'll see. I mean, you're right. I mean, he scored.
I think the Justin Fields pickup may have won him the league. Because even if
Yeah.
Justin Fields starts like scoring half of what he's been scoring, Luke's team is still set.
And maybe this is also my just pure jealousy because I only have 1 startable running back, and Luke has 3 running back 1, and maybe that jealousy just makes me think that Luke's team is way better than it is. But like his 3 running backs in ETN, Saquon, and who's the other one? Cook. Like that's insane to have all 3 of them on the same team.
Yeah, and the thing is, the one you're most worried about is Cook.
Yeah.
Like, that's the craziest thing.
Yeah.
Like, ETN, I traded him when Robinson was still there. Robinson leaves, he's an animal now.
Yeah.
And then Saquon just is Saquon. I don't know how he's just...
As much as I want to disagree with you, everything here, Alton, you're right. Like, his team is hot right now, and you look at, like, the ETN thing, turned it on, Justin Fields, we were making fun of him. He had less throwing yards than like college quarterbacks for the first 3 weeks. And now, since they changed their offense, he's turned it on. Surprising.
Yeah. And if there's anybody who I'd want to win from the West, I always mess that up. This is the West, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It would be Luke. I'd hate anybody else, but I'd be okay with Luke winning. Luke making it run. You shit on me constantly. Why are you shaking your head? Why
That
you shit on my
hurts,
team?
Steve. That hurts, Steve. You just don't want to see 2 rings.
No, I do not want to see 2 rings in my face, thrown at my face every time any statement happens. He already says anytime I take up and talk about a baddest team, he goes, "When's the last time you won?" I'm like, oh my gosh.
I honestly can't remember that. By the way, you brought that up. So like, I can't remember the last time.
Yeah, I walked myself into this stupid
Yeah,
conversation. But yeah, all right. I think that's solid. That's cool. I like seeing Luke 1.
Yeah.
That's a bold, kind of bold, but not really bold take. It's weird.
Another solid power rankings. You never fail to amaze us, Austin. All right.
I think they were absolute garbage.
So now the next thing here is we have question of the week. So in texting Josh, he said he had some strong feelings about some of the past statements that have been made. So we gave you a whole time here, Josh, to get off what you need to get off your chest. So the floor is yours. Go ahead and let's see what you have, and we'll probably disregard it because it's probably trash, but we'll listen.
Before you talk, Josh, I'll say this. Josh has turned into, over the last 4 or 5 weeks, the most shit-on team in the league.
True.
Really. He really has. I mean, yeah, we kind of knew what was happening at the bottom end, but everyone was shitting on Josh's team, especially since you got 2 wins with, like, scoring like 100 points or something. So what do you...
More fire right before he goes. Brave man.
So first of all, I want to correct a statement I've seen made a lot. That certain people like to throw around the statistic that 4 out of 5 of the last championships have gone to the West. Neglecting the fact that those are the only championships the West has ever won, and 2 of them are out. So that gets thrown around a lot. I want to just I'll correct the record there.
Okay.
And I think we're all in agreement that no one's happy when Alex wins.
No.
Yeah, exactly. And to defend the Asian team, they're getting W's, which is more than some of these other teams out here are doing. And it doesn't matter once the playoffs start. If you're in the playoffs are a shit show anyway. You just got to be there, and anything can happen.
Paul, can you go and sort these season stats by points for?
Yeah.
Points for.
You know, right here, actually, we have this thing shown up, and it shows the playoff percentage that ESPN has, and it actually has you as the 7th team, which is funny because that's where you were in the power rankings. You're upset about that. It has 2 people in the West going over you, and our whole division even has me a higher percentage because I think what we're about to see, the points for.
Yep. Yeah. So 7. That number keeps coming up over and over again.
Yeah.
That's also
Since when do we take ESPN seriously?
7 is also the ranking of how many points for you have in the season. So a lot of consistencies here in those rankings.
7 is also the number of wins I'm going to have after I beat Paul this week.
Oh, okay.
Wouldn't
All
be
right.
enough for first.
It's got that Eagles schedule going on. That super easy schedule or something. I don't know what's going on here. But,
So you clarified some statements. Do you have anything else for us, Josh?
I mean, I think those were the main things. But,
Okay.
everyone picks against my team, and it's never
Hey,
worked out well.
I have been picking you the last couple of weeks.
And I've been playing without Jonathan Taylor most of the season. He's back, baby.
We'll see. We'll see.
Well, we'll see. I guess we'll see if he's got that Jeff Saturday magic or not. But I will say that before we started the pod, Josh said to Paul that Najee was the worst pick in the draft. Well, he was making a joke that Connor was, actually. But the funny thing is Taylor's been pretty freaking terrible, and he hasn't really been injured.
Yeah.
You're talking about how Paul has the worst in number 1, which Austin said if he was number 1, he wouldn't touch him with a 10-foot pole, Taylor. But you're pretty close to having one of those terrible draft picks as well.
No, pull up Jonathan Taylor. Let's look at his game by game, because most of his terribleness has been injury.
I don't know about that.
Brain injury?
That'd be an owner injury.
Okay, so week 1 he was good.
Yes.
3 points. That's a great week. 5 points. Another great week.
Okay. But
And
those
missing
weeks are
1,
weeks he
2,
left with
3.
injuries.
Yeah.
So if you take out the weeks he didn't play or left with injuries, he's really only put out 1 bad week and 1 kind of mediocre week. And 2 really good weeks.
Yeah, but he actually has a pretty tough 3-game schedule here. So this is really where we're going to figure out what he is. Philadelphia has a really good run D. Well, they're supposed to, and I know Washington kind of ran over.
To be fair, Josh, if I squint, tilt my head, and maybe jump up and down, he does look like a decent running back.
Well, all you have to do is take out the games where he didn't finish the game because he got injured.
Yeah, if you just go to Kamara and you take out all the games he did bad, he's actually nuts. But
he's healthy. It's completely different if he's healthy and playing bad than if he gets hurt and comes out of the game. Because now he's healthy.
all right, well, against Philadelphia, I'd put his over-under on points at 11, and I'd take the under.
I sniff a bet coming out here.
That is the most idiotic take I've heard of this pod yet.
$50 on under on 11.
Under on 11 for Jonathan Taylor?
Yep, this week.
That is ridiculous.
Well, put
And,
your money where
but
your
you're
mouth
not
is.
saying anything. It sounds like it's a pretty tough line, huh? You're not a betting man?
Oh, you want to bet on that?
Yeah, $50. I'll throw.
No, I am not a betting man.
Okay,
But
that's fair.
I don't believe in taking money from.
Well, hey, book it. Next week, I'm looking right at that.
We'll bring this up, Steve. Memory it.
Yeah,
So,
of course.
so I guess moving on. Big thing to talk about. Who is getting out of the East? We'll start with Austin.
Luke. Oh wait,
We're these.
no,
You're the East.
got them mixed up. So I think it's gonna be the winner of me and Vinny's matchup this week.
Okay.
And
Leave 2 other people.
I'm gonna take myself.
Okay. So that's you, Vinny, and who else?
Oh, we're talking in general. Okay,
Yeah.
So, I think I finished first. I think it's me, Dan, and Vinny out of this one.
Okay. Josh, who do you have?
I think Vince is the best team in the division right now. I think he definitely gets out. I think Dan's team may very well fall apart without Hill this week and without Cup the rest of the way.
Uh-oh. The GOAT internet's back. Oh, you stopped. Okay. Josh, say something again. We heard everything. You heard. You think Vinny's team's the best. Be there. Sorry, we'll work through this. I'll just go to me real quick.
Yeah.
And I was looking at my phone because I really wanted to see who I am playing the rest of the way out.
Well,
Do
as
I
you
play
look
Josh?
at that,
Do I
I'll
play
go
Josh?
with mine. Real quick.
It's good. I was
Okay.
going to go for it right away. I just had to look at last. So
Okay.
I think Vinny's beating Austin this week. I think Austin's going to fall from grace.
Okay.
I hate to say this, but looking at Josh's schedule left, he's going to beat Paul. And I actually think it's going to be me, Josh, and Vinny. We don't really play each other, I don't think, anymore on the way out. Maybe Josh and Vinny do. But I
Yeah, I have a game against Vince.
You have a
Okay.
game against Vince?
Yeah.
I still think Dan's going to fall apart, and I play Austin last week of the year. So I think he's going to lose this week, and he's going to lose to me, and I think it's going to be me, Josh, and Vinny getting in.
Okay.
And ironically, the 2 people that had 7 wins, or 3 losses last week, are going to be the 2 people out.
Yeah. All right.
Josh, you can continue back. We can hear you now.
Yeah, I was saying I think Vince is the best team in the division right now. I think he gets in. And then I think it's going to be me and Steve. My schedule the rest of the way is Paul, Vince, and Dan. And I think if I beat Paul and Dan, that's probably enough. And I think I can definitely win those. Austin's team is falling apart. And after the top 3, his roster just looks rough. And Cup just did so much for Dan. I don't think he gets it done without him.
I mean, we might never see something like this again if Austin doesn't make the playoffs but has 3 number ones, because that could happen.
Yeah.
That'd be wild. Also, we have an issue with Austin's team with Josh Allen, who's been like, what is happening with? He looks throwing a lot more picks, making bad decisions. I know he has a little injury he's working with, but like a lot of people are saying they're just worried he's just kind of.
I think he has 6 picks in the last 2 or 3 weeks or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, and then, so the last 2 weeks he's been dealing with that elbow injury, so we'll see. But he hasn't this week at least. Like he's not been on any injury reports or like any limited practices. So I think he's going to be back to his normal self. But definitely the last 2 weeks that injury definitely played a big role.
Well, if I was him, I would be worried about Thanksgiving because you have Big Hutch coming after him. So.
Now, who do you think is going to come out of the East since I'm getting last in this league?
So, I hate doing this.
Also, Austin, you're correct. The magic number is 8. I think everyone who gets in is going to have 8 wins, which means
I really hate doing this, but I think it's going to be you.
Wait, that's interesting. Steve's going to get last. Andy's going to
I think it's going to
the
be
first ever to do it.
I think it's going to be definitely. I can confidently say Josh and then Vinny, but I look at the other 2 teams in the league, and I don't see Austin being able to turn it around. You have major issues, and then Dan's team is just broke, and it's going to be Vinny, Josh, and sadly Steve.
Yeah.
As much as I hate saying it.
So, do you think interesting that all 3 of us still have 3 teams coming out of the East, and like no one's saying that it could be 2, and then like Mark and Luke getting into?
Yeah.
Like definitely possibility, I would say. Like they're really in the same ballpark. They've got 6-4 and 5-5.
True. Very true.
And like for me, like Dan had this equation, right? It was working for him. He was like 1-1-2. His equation this week is basically saying I'm fucked. That's what his equation is. He's come down. And the equation is I'm done. He's saying it in his name. He's done. The equation doesn't work anymore. The math doesn't work. He's out.
See, I'm also saying that you're going to get in, so then you don't get in, because whatever I want happens never happens. I don't want my team to be good. They're just
No, but you don't truly want me to get in, so I'm getting in.
No,
Well, Steve, maybe Dan's onto something, because Luke turned it around when his name declared him done.
Dude, that's what the fantasy gods want this year. They want self-deprecation.
Honestly, it came across my mind. I didn't do it because this would go against the entire integrity of the power rankings. But I really wanted to put Vinny number 1 so that it would curse him and I would beat him this week.
Ooh. So you have a lot of power, and I appreciate your wielding with responsibility.
Yeah, just didn't want to wield all that power and lose it, because I feel like with how the fantasy gods work is if you wield too much of the power, they just take it all.
So when you lose this week, we're just going to see whoever you play next 2 weeks, just right up there. Good to know.
But yeah, that's it for this one. And then what's the next question?
Next one is a 3 to 5-way race for the doll. There's still a chance that you, Steve, could get the doll. There's a chance that Luke could get it, and then there's a much higher chance than that the Pickle farm system and Alex can get it. And there's an outside chance, not a very good chance, but an outside chance I'm still in the running for it.
Yeah, in my opinion, I really think it's a 2-way race, just because this late in the season, you having 1 win, like, if you win just one of your last 3 games, you won't get the doll. And even if you don't win a game, one of these shit teams have to win maybe even 2 games. And
if
really
we look
think
at points 4, I'm above points 4 people here.
You're pretty close to Paul though. So obviously like you're way above Al, and so if Al continues on this trajectory and like you are tied or he has like but if it came down to you and other Paul, that he could definitely pass you in points within the next couple weeks.
Josh, do you have any different takes?
So technically, I think everyone could still get the doll if there was an epic collapse.
I don't think that's possible.
If Paul and Al both win out, it'll be 6 and 7. So if any of the 6 and 4 teams lose out and just take a dive in points 4, it could happen.
I think the points 4 on the bottom end are too fucked for that to happen.
Yeah,
even if
I think mathematically it's possible, but there's just no way that like.
But realistically, it's Al going on the date.
Yeah.
We've done this for a while. If for no other reason, then Paul is going to try, and Al might start a player who's out.
I also would wager that when Al does win the stall date, he's going to take the buyout option and he's not actually going to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the only thing that can happen to scare you, Paul, would be if Mixon scores 150 points and gets the win. If that happens, and you're both sitting at 4-7, that it leads an ending where Alex could have a better record, so the points for it don't matter, and then Paul could catch up to you. So that's if you both are 4-7 after this week, that's where you can be a little worried, but you still have a long leash.
The nice thing is I win this week and I'm not worried. I can think about playoffs again. So we just need to focus on this week. Yeah.
Well, you're not going to the playoffs.
Well, there's always a chance. But now we go to one of the new segments that I'm super excited about. I think we're going to do this depending how it goes for the rest of the year. But hot take or bad take. So we'll go around. We have not discussed what each other's takes are. We all came up with 3 takes, and then we'll discuss it. A hot take or a bad take. So why don't you do...
Should we go 1-1-1-1?
Yeah, let's do 1-1-1 all the way around. So we'll start with me, go Austin, Steve, and then Josh. And then we'll kind of go back in the draft order. Josh, you go, and then we'll go back around. So,
what's your hot take?
My first one is Josh Jacobs next year will be a top 10 pick in fantasy football.
I'm going to come out and say that is a bad take. Yeah. I don't think he will. I think he'll be one of those back-end second round. I think he'll be a high-end second. Maybe someone reaches for him like second. I don't think he's a top 10 pick, in my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. Bad take. I think there is a big shift in how we're going to be drafting starting next year. Like the past couple of years, we've been getting less and less running back heavy in the first round, and I think that's going to even be more so this next year. So I think to be a top 10 pick, you really have to be like top 3, top 4 in your position, and I still don't think that he's going to be in that wheelhouse.
Okay. Josh, opinions?
I think he probably will be, but it won't be me. I think whoever does it will be making a mistake, but I think someone might.
Yeah, man. I guess here's the thing with this hot take is that Najee was not a top 10 pick consensus wise, but he somehow ended up being that.
Top 3.
Yeah, top 3.
So maybe just Paul is just gonna want this to be a hot take and just take Josh Jacobs in the first round next year.
Hush.
I don't have
Josh Jacobs in top 3 because it's looking that way.
Yeah. But all right, now it's Austin's.
Yep.
All right, my first hot take: James Robinson season has arrived.
This is
James Robinson is.
You can't even say
let him finish it. Let him finish. Okay.
He rest of season, so like not like he won't finish as this, but like if you look at just rest of season, he'll finish as a top 15 back.
So what would you say like the average points per game is going to be for the rest of the season?
I think he'll be in like consistently like 12 to 15 point.
Okay.
Per game.
All right. I think those are 2 terrible takes. I just think it's a bad take. I don't know, but I don't know. What do you guys think?
Not a chance.
Not a chance. Paul?
Yeah, no. I mean,
this was the most like, I don't know, it could happen, but this felt like the most depressing, like, please, this is my take of hope. Like, this is my playoffs right here. Like, but yeah.
I mean, okay, so hear me out here. He had one game with the Jets, so he had his first game that was like 2 days after he got traded. Obviously, like, wasn't a big part of the offense. Second game was also a short week for him, so he like didn't have a full week of practice still, but he still had 13 points that week. I think he's going to continue to kind of grow that role. I think the fact that they traded for him right after this Breece Hall injury means that like they don't think that Michael Carter is their guy. And then beyond that, the Jets have a pretty easy rest of season run defense schedule, so it's James Robinson season.
All right. Well, we'll see.
We'll see.
My take is a little different. I'm going off a player. I'm taking a scope.
Okay.
And I got an interesting one here. Over the next 7 years of this league, both Pauls will never win the division. They will not win the division. Both Pauls over the next 7 years. That is
so like finishing like 1 and 2 in their division.
No, they will not win the division.
Oh, neither of them will ever.
Neither of them will win the division in the next 7 years.
Oh, that's a great take.
I mean, when I won the championship, I didn't win my division, so not a bad take.
I was a little bit joking. I don't. If you had done it with one Paul, I might agree. But Paul Florzak puts in so much work. He deserves a win.
I know. I just feel like it just seems like they always have something that happens. Whether it's Paul's drafting, Pickles drafting, or just Paul's unfortunate play out. That's my take. What do you think, Josh?
Have either of them ever won the division?
Back
Paul
it.
Florzak did last year, didn't Paul Florzak was good last year.
Yeah, I think Paul might have won it last year.
Did he? I think Luke might have been above him. I'm not 100% sure.
Well, because Al made the playoffs from that division, but Paul also made the playoffs.
I'm not even sure. We're doing a little research here.
No, Al won it last year.
Okay, Al won it.
Okay.
No, sorry. That was looking at final season. Luke won the division last year.
Oh, so you're saying there was 3 of them in there? So the East was pretty shitty last year then. Interesting. Okay.
Last year was kind of just a crap season anyway. It doesn't really count.
Okay.
So what do you think about the take, though, Josh?
I mean, someone's got to win the division, right?
Yeah.
So, I'd say if I had to bet, I would say one of them wins the division in 7 years.
That's a long
Now,
time.
I think I would be willing to say in the next 7 years of the league, neither of them win the league.
I went more bold because I think
Yeah.
it's going to happen. Paul, what do you think about this?
I think I may not win the division, but I'm going to win the league again. I'm going to.
So it's a good take.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good take.
Oh, wow. Not expect that one coming out. But, all right, now, Josh, what's yours?
All right. Also looking to next year's draft, Kenneth Walker will be the number 1 overall pick next year.
Ooh.
Wow. I think that's a bad take because, in my opinion, I think Saquon's going to be above him. I think Saquon's going to be one of those top 3 guys. And now McCaffrey, I think, will be above him as well. Number 1, you're saying?
Yeah.
Well,
I think Seattle wants to run all the time. He's proven he can do it.
So we got to also think about who is going to be
I
last,
know.
right? So it's going to be like Alex or Paul's.
yeah. Or Steve.
I think if Florzak is last, I think that could be good. I think Florzak would be someone who might actually take him 1.
Yeah.
But I still think it's a bad take. I think there's there's several players that are better, and especially after this year, how receivers have done, you might even see a switch where more receivers might go in the first round.
Do you think a receiver goes number 1 overall, like Justin Jefferson?
No.
If Alex picks, I think so.
I think you'll see a lot more receivers go after pick 5, but before pick 5, you kind of need to get one of those running backs that guarantee get you points.
Yeah, I mean, we had if there was ever a time where wide receiver is going to go first overall, it was probably this year. Like Kupp had the most historic wide receiver fantasy season of all time, and he still went 3, I think, in our league.
Maybe like 4.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, Dan took him, I think 4. Dan was 4. So yeah. So what is your officials? I'm gonna say bad take.
I think it's a bad take too.
Yeah, bad take. I think I can even think of like 3 running backs I would take above Kenneth.
All right, and then Josh, you're gonna go again, and then I'll follow you.
Yep.
All right. This one I'm not 100% sure I believe, but I do want to hear what people think. This league next year should go to a dynasty league.
Ooh. Okay, so now we're just talking. I don't know if this is that. Well, I guess we could say is that a bad take or good take.
Yeah.
I think if everyone loves this league, right?
Yeah.
I think if we made a second league, but I don't know how that happened. Maybe we could do a dynasty. I don't know if I guess bad take. I don't know. But I think people love the structure of this league. Are going to keep this continuing.
So I'm gonna say it's a bad take just for the simple fact I suck at fucking drafting, and I'm gonna fuck my whole year up forever and ever by.
Yeah, well, you could do a Rams and just trade all your picks. You don't need to use them.
True.
I love that segue into my next question. But what do you think, Austin?
Yeah, I'm gonna say bad take too. Like we've discussed it before, and like the idea of dynasty is very intriguing and interesting to me, and also like this group is so good that this is probably the group that we want to do it to. But like we have such a good dynamic with this like redraft league right now. I just don't know if we would want to like switch it up.
I will say though, there was a time where none of us thought we'd ever go to points per reception.
That's
PPR.
true.
And it happened, and I think everyone's happy. I
Yeah.
love PPR actually.
Do you guys remember that summer when it got kind of nasty in the
Yes.
chat for like a good 2 weeks?
Yes.
I was very against that, but I'm in another league now that's not points per reception. It's so annoying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like,
It
scores are
changes.
so low. Like, half the receivers are useless.
And I was one of the main people against it before we switched. And like now that I think about it, there should be a payoff for getting a target. So
Yeah.
like I totally agree with it on all sides of it. Like how do they deserve the point? I think I love it on every side.
Yeah.
It helps players all around get more points. But yeah, so my next take, which is funny because Paul kind of segued it, is this is like I wanted to say forever, you know,
Oh, no.
but I'm just gonna say it. So I think Paul every single year will make a terrible draft decision. Every single year, he
I
will make
really
a
wish I could disagree with
terrible
you.
draft decision because has there been a year we haven't said, "Wow, Josh, Paul took this guy," and it doesn't really.
So
The only year you did well was because of this man who joined us on Skype. That trade.
thank you, Josh. Thank you.
Oh, man. It was a dark 2 years for me in fantasy. This year, whatever happens the rest of the way is good because it's getting me back.
Can you have another big life event? Maybe get a second wife or something like that, where you just trade me your old team again?
Get another wife. That's a great plan, Paul.
Yeah. No, I wish I could disagree. That's the one thing I struggle with. I draft for potential, and that sometimes I just need to stop being trying to be the smartest one in the room and just draft what is there and stop trying to be potential. Yeah. I don't disagree. Sadly.
All right. Let's see. I didn't really know we were doing this format, so I only had one.
Oh, that's
I'm
fine.
just gonna go hot take that since we all said 3 teams were coming out of the East earlier, hot take it's actually only gonna be 2, and both Mark and
Ooh.
Luke end up going to the playoffs.
Ooh.
That is a hot take, but it's one of those ones where I don't sit there and I'm like, no. That is.
No, I think that's a good like, I think there's a good chance that happens.
I like that take a lot. Yeah.
Oh, of course
Because
will.
you know what that means. It means I could sneak my little head back in there.
No, he didn't say you.
Okay, that is a bad
Bad take. Yeah, even though I don't really agree, I still think it's a good take. It kind of just rattled me to my core there. I just like, that actually might happen. It was nothing, yeah. Okay, I think that's a good take. That's a good hot take. Wow. That actually might happen this year. I don't like that. Being 5-5, you know?
So mine, it's kind of a 2-part question. Mark and Alex will never win another fantasy football title ever again. Mark has never won, and Alex has won 2 fluky championships.
I'm going to say bad take only for the reason that I kind of agree with Alex. I think he's going to go on a long cold streak. But I think Mark will figure out a way to have a good year in there and figure it out.
He's played the league longer than me, longer than Josh. How has he not won when there's been users that have been completely inactive?
I mean, the reason I feel like that's also a bad take is he's leading the division, so like it might even just right away just.
He's not winning it this year. He is not winning it this year.
But yeah, I think that's a
Mark
bad
is a
take.
good team this year. He's got a chance.
Yeah, I'm gonna say bad take only because like it's just like we're gonna be doing this league until we're all like old and gray. Like and
I think you could probably.
so much of fantasy is luck. Like Paul has won a championship.
Hey now.
Yeah, I think you.
Sometimes you get somebody to send you a trade that just gift wraps you a championship.
Yeah.
Mark could do that.
He could.
I feel like on a lot of these like long-term takes, it's really probably like 10 years. I mean, forever is like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But even in like 10 years, I still think that's not. I think someone
Look,
will figure it out.
do we think we get engaged Al next year in this league? Like, does he try?
Yes, I think so. I think it was just a weird time for him.
Yeah.
I think it was a lot just the auto, like he had like scheduling stuff and like had an auto draft team, and it ended up being one of the worst auto drafts I've ever seen. Like I've seen people have auto drafts that like they end up like decent. He got so screwed by his auto draft.
Very true.
Yeah.
Then my next question is, will the Lions make the playoffs this year?
No.
This year?
This year.
That is a terrible take.
I'm telling you, they need to win this week. They beat the Bills. They're right there for the wild card.
I
They're
feel
not going
like
to beat the Bills.
I feel like they have to basically win out in order to make it to the playoffs.
Hey.
Like they're at, what do they have, 6 losses now?
I think so, yeah.
So I think like maybe you get in at with
I
one
mean,
more loss.
I still have a chance to make the playoffs, and I have 6 losses. And they have more chances to make more games to make the playoffs than I do. So.
Yeah, bad
Terrible
take.
take. I mean,
The takes, I think, are steadily getting worse.
All right, now back to Austin. Do you have a third one ready, or?
Yep. I'm gonna go back to another one on my team here. This is Travis Kelce's last elite year.
Wow, that's tough.
Oh, man.
All
Now,
right.
by elite, do you mean top 3?
Like, I mean, like you had, like we've all talked about it so far. Like, there's 2 elite tight ends. It's Travis Kelce and Mark Andrews. Like, I think that either that gap shrinks and like he's just like not super above them, or like is just not even in that top group of guys.
I think it's a bad take. I think he has at least one more year.
Every year, I think he's gonna do worse. So like that's a tough one. I think he's still, just because of how the receivers are around KC. There's not really any solid guys. I think he's still gonna be good for at least a year or 2 after this. So I think bad take.
Josh?
That's tough. Because, like, he is going to fall off. But I don't think it's next year.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's such an integral part of that offense. And, like, who else would you rather have at tight end next year? Mark Andrews and...
I mean, I'm not saying that like there's necessarily someone that's like you would replace him with, but like you think about like Gronk was putting up Travis Kelce-esque numbers, and he really just had one year that like nothing really changed. He still had Tom Brady throwing him the ball, and then all of a sudden he was just like that mediocre like 10 to 12 point a game tight end.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a close one. That's a close take. I think it's bad, but that is bordering. That's bordering. So, but yeah, that's a good one. We finally came back after Paul's shit show, and that's a pretty good one.
That was a tough one.
Yeah, but
I like the reach.
So my next take, which I'm curious on what you guys think about this, because over the last few weeks, it looks like it might be reverting the way the season started, the first 5-6 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Mine is QBs next year will be drafted significantly higher, and there will be a QB drafted in the second round.
Ooh.
I don't think second round, but third round.
I think there's some of those top dogs that run and throw, and even if they're not that good, they still get a lot of points, and one of them will be taken in the...
So the really interesting take about this one is that our league is really like late quarterback. Like Josh Allen's ADP this year was second round, and I grabbed him in the 4th.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So to say that our league is going to change that drastically for like that top quarterback to come up 2 rounds, I still think bad take.
Well, so I think this year, like, if you have the pool of quarterbacks who you would want, who could be good fantasy starters, you lost Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, Matthew Stafford, Tom Brady, and the only guys who really came into that level are Justin Fields and Tua, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say like Jalen Hurts, like he was.
Well, I think Jalen Hurts is probably already there from last year.
Yeah.
But I feel like there were guys who were being drafted this year who people, based on past history, had a lot of faith in, like Russell Wilson, who just absolutely shit the bed and won't be drafted next year.
Yeah.
So, I do wonder if that puts a premium on Allen and Mahomes.
It's part of the reason I said it was because QBs, not to the extent tight ends have, but have kind of this year gone to the back end of QBs have been so inconsistent and bad, and the top end have been so good that it's really ruined some teams. Teams that drafted the Wilsons and whatever and expect those quarterbacks to do well have struggled. Luke got saved by Fields, right? He had a monster team, but the QB screwed him for so long. And I think that people are going to be picking QBs a lot earlier, and I think there's going to be one guy picked in the second round, but we'll see. So what do you guys think? Bad take, good take? Is it bad take?
I think it's a bad take, yeah.
Bad take.
If you had said third round, I'd say good take. I don't think anyone does in the second.
All right, and then the final take from Josh.
Yep.
Oh man. So this take is for Paul Florzak. Paul, you need to drop Kyle Pitts. Tonight, drop him. I don't care who you pick up. But you're never starting him. You hate him. And I just think, as a sacrifice on the altar to the fantasy gods, you just need to wash your hands of Kyle Pitts.
I think that's a great take. Yeah, just for the simple fact he needs to create a sacrifice to turn his season around.
I think that's a great bad take because it's a hilarious take. But the reason he won't drop Pitts is because if he drops Pitts, someone will pick him up in the league. If someone starts him and he gets 20 points, that's the most devastating thing that can happen. Is seeing Pitts.
That's actually true.
Is seeing Pitts score on someone else's. So he will never start him, but he will never drop him because you just can't. You can't see someone scoring 20 plus points that's ruined your year.
True.
So I'm gonna say bad take.
I am gonna say actually terrible take. And I have Kyle Pitts in a different league. I know the pain and I know the struggle, but
Oh, you should drop him too.
he has so many targets. I was trying to find the stat, and I couldn't, but I saw this recently, that he has more air yards than any other tight end, including Kelsey and Mark Andrews. Mariota just misses him every time. And you just have to think that at some point they're going to get that connection and he's going to find it. But he is getting close to 10 targets a game. They're bombs. He is a freak athlete. He's going to put it together at some point. And
Oh my gosh, Austin! Everything you're saying has been what I've been trying to talk myself into with Drake London all year, and it's just not happening.
Oh, Drake London? Yeah.
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 He looked so good early on, and it's
Well, Mariota can't throw.
yeah.
That's the problem.
That is a tough problem.
So I have one bonus one. In lieu of almost the eve of the World Cup, do we think USA will make it to the quarterfinals?
Is that one win after out of groups?
I believe so, yes.
No. I haven't even followed soccer, but the USA sucks.
I'm going to say yes.
I'm going to say yes.
I think they're going to actually somehow. I think England's going to fall apart in the groups,
Mm-hmm.
and England might even knock it out. That'd be a hot take. But
That would be.
I think they'll win the group, and it really depends on who they play. But
Well,
I
if you
think,
look at their path, if they win their group, they have a really nice road.
I think this will be a year that when we look back, it's okay, they missed the last World Cup, but they had a great performance to show they're back.
Yeah.
So I think they'll win possibly a game. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good take.
Thank you. Now.
No, Austin. Good take or bad take?
Oh, sorry.
Well, I have not been following USA soccer at all, but I'm gonna say, good take, go USA.
Bang.
USA. USA.
So we were going to do another section, but we're kind of getting.
It's up to you. How are we doing on time?
Well, we'd have to go over every team. We were thinking about if we should do the.
Why don't we just push it back till next week?
Okay, we'll
Yeah.
just do it. We'll do it another
Yeah.
week because we'll get right into this upcoming week
Yep.
of games. Then we'll push it to next week.
Alright, if I get the right screen. There we go. Alright, so let's start off with, if it loads, come on. All right. Well, that didn't load the right way, but we could start off with me and.
Critical game in the race for the goal.
It is a very critical race, and again, I am not knowing what to do with my flex. What are your guys' thoughts, picks, and advice for my starting flex
He
people?
always does this. He's the only one that asks us for advice. I mean, there was one week where we were at the end of an episode looking at who we should pick up. Like, what is happening here? But this is funny because it's another possibly game of the week type of games because it's huge for the dial. Now, this one I think is going to be super close. And I hate to say it, Paul, I think Alex is going to beat you. I think Alex is going to beat you here. I'm gonna say Alex.
Yeah, I've got Alex as well. Paul's team is looking rough over there.
So you guys were shitting on Mariota, but Mariota's going to have the game of his life this week.
Well, here's the reason. Justin Herbert has, people are questioning if he's even good or if he's overrated with how the last, 5 weeks have played out. I think this week against KC, you get that Mahomes Herbert. I think he's going to come back and have, a monster 40-point week.
He is also finally going to have wide receivers again.
Exactly.
Keenan Allen and Mike Williams should be back.
Yeah. So I think that will just get him over the hump and,
Yeah.
and be enough.
Which may shoot me in the foot because if I don't start Keenan Allen, he does good.
Well, and Paul, you are so heavily invested in the Arizona Cardinals for some reason.
Yeah.
And they're going up against San Francisco. I don't think I would love that matchup.
Yeah.
I think I'm probably going with Al, too.
Okay.
Wow, is that... Oh, Kyler's not even playing this week.
No, he's not playing this week, no.
Oh, okay.
All right, so next match we're going to go is Vinny versus Austin.
I'll start off because just as my predictions on who coming out of the East
Mm-hmm.
are all dependent on this game, which is I have Vinny winning. I think I think Mahomes is just going to be almost 30-point a game guy from here on out.
Yeah.
And I think McCaffrey is an absolute monster. And Aaron Jones getting 14 points is actually good because you get out the 3-point disasters. But yeah, I think Vinny's going to win this week.
I think I would tend to agree with that, yeah. Just because Amari Cooper, that's the one I'm worried about. But he's playing in a dome. You don't have to worry about that. I think he wins. I think Amon-Ra, for the Lions to make the playoffs, he needs to have a big week. So,
My goodness.
yeah, I'm going Vinny. Austin?
Yeah, I think unless it is actually James Robin's season, which I doubt.
Yeah. It's just one of those things where you look at Austin's team and it's like, you look at the top players like, ooh, and then you look at Gus the Bus, Cortland Sutton, Ayuk, and James Robinson. It's like, and the worst thing that Austin has going for him is he'll probably be losing by 15, 16 points going into Monday night. And, and he's got Kittle. But, yeah, and you're going to have Ayuk, one of your players, be doing well on Monday night. And Monday nights never worked for fantasy this year. Monday nights suck.
Well,
I hate Monday nights.
It
That
worked
being
for me
said,
once.
Who is the worst Monday night team of all time? Vinny.
True.
Vinny. But, yeah, Kittle gets 0.
Oh, that's actually a good point. I changed my vote.
I'm going to stick with Vinny. But,
I'm obviously going with myself. I don't think anyone has checked the calendar because it is clearly James Robin's season. I think Josh Allen, his elbow's feeling great. He's gonna be fine in a dome. He's gonna go off. Eckler's gonna go off. I think Russ is finally gonna give Sutton a good game. Ayuk has been doing great, and Gus the Bus he's taken over that backfield, and I think he doesn't even give it back to J.K. once he's healthy.
So here's the question I have. If you're going to win this week, which player on Vinny's team is going to shit the bed besides Kittle?
Kittle and Cooper, I think. And then, also, McCaffrey, I don't think is going to shit the bed. He's going to have a good game.
Mm-hmm.
But this last week was very telling. That was, almost an even split in carries between McCaffrey and Elijah Mitchell.
Mm-hmm.
CMC doesn't own that backfield. So I don't think, shit the bed, but I don't know how many, 40-point games he's going to have with Elijah Mitchell back either.
But I think the touches, he still gets him a lot of touches. It's just they're just a heavy running back team. But all right. What is this week? Is this...
All right, so that's not going to load there. All right, so now we're going to go to Mark and Luke. Huge game.
Yeah. Huge game, and I'll come out and say, what did Mark say? He said if Derrick Henry scores over a certain amount of points, he'll win every week. Was it 25?
I think it was like 20.
Okay, 20, yeah. Well, this is not going to be true this week. Starting off good with Henry, but I think Luke's going to beat him. I think Luke's going to come out and win this week, and I think there's a lot of shit-in-the-bed players over on his team. I think Justin Jefferson will have solid points, but I think he's going to have, dude, Pittman, I don't know. I guess Saturday, right? Josh is all about Saturday, so maybe Pittman becomes something. But
he's undefeated.
But yeah, I think Luke's going to win this one.
To be fair, though, Josh's point with Saturday is not that Pittman's going to be catching the ball. It's going to be that he's going to be handing the ball off to Taylor. So
yeah.
Well, and I think Luke will win because Saquon's playing the Lions.
Yeah, it's a very good
and
point.
Always bet on the Lions to not stop anybody.
True.
Especially running back.
I'm picking Luke just because I need Luke to win to keep my playoff hopes alive. Go, Luke.
I got Luke here. I had his team ranked number 1. I think he's the best team in the league. Mark definitely has a decent team, but like Brian Robinson, that's he's also not a clear RB2 by any means. He's James Robinson better.
Now we go to a game that I wish we could have more hype about, but I think this will be a blowout. Josh versus Paul Florzak.
Well, Paul's off to a good start with Christian Watson. Holy crap.
Well, I think he has, 5 touchdowns the last 2 weeks?
Yeah.
That's wild.
That's insane.
Yeah. What do you think, Josh?
Well, I'm generally optimistic, but a little nervous because my team does have the tendency to shit the bed. And
As does his internet.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the internet is cut out, but I'll just... He was just talking about how his team has a tendency to shit the bed, but what I think Josh's going to win this week because...
I think I win because...
Oh, you're back? Okay, we couldn't hear you. You went out for like 10 seconds.
Oh, man. I was saying, I'm nervous about my team because I don't love my wide receiver options. Like, I don't feel confident about Samuel. I don't feel confident with Drake London. I'm tempted to start Darius Slayton just because, again, the Lions.
Yeah.
But I'm a little nervous there. But I just don't think Paul's team is very good. I think Jonathan Taylor is, in fact, back. I think Pollard's going to get a lot of touches. I think CeeDee Lamb's going to have a big week. And Cole Kmet has been getting tons of touchdowns. So if he can have another big week, I think I'm okay. But I'm nervous.
What do you think, Austin?
I'm going to go with Paul on this one. I think Najee is going to go off in spite of other Paul here. I think he's off to a great start with Watson. I think Kmet has actually been too touchdown dependent, so I think he's not going to keep that up and he's going to fall off. And then, again, I don't think JT is back and Zeke is back, so Tony Pollard's going to fall off.
I don't think anything is going to happen there. I think I think Josh is just going to win outright.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the reason I think Josh is going to win outright is because Minnesota has been playing very well.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of think they're a team that isn't as good as the record is, even though they just beat the Bills, right? They're playing well. I think and Dallas just had a heartbreaking loss to Green Bay. I think the 3 Dallas players Josh has are going to score combined over 75 points. And Dallas is going to just run a train on Minnesota. And I think Josh is going to win because of those Dallas players. I think they're all just going to have monster weeks.
Okay. Next game that I have here is you versus Dan.
Middle one.
Middle one there. Perfect.
Big game here.
A huge game.
So I'll start. I'm very confident this week because if you look at Dan's team, you have Melvin Gordon, Duvernay, Donovan Peoples-Jones, and the famous Kirk Cousins, who's going to have a terrible week. He might have 20 points or something. But all I really need to do is be solid. And Alan Lazard in my defense giving me 17 points, 0.6 is like solid. I think that's solid. I think I'm going to have enough to win. I don't think I'm going to have necessarily a huge week, but I think Dan's going to have a bad week. I don't know. I don't like his team. He's got 2 Minnesota players, which ironically I forgot I was playing against Minnesota players. I just really think they're going to play bad this week. But, he's lost so much of his firepower.
Yeah.
What do you
Well, and we were talking about his receivers, but I think Melvin Gordon at RB2 is worse than his receivers.
Yeah.
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 Because I could talk myself into Scary Terry and even Donovan Peoples-Jones and Duvernay. I can't talk myself into Melvin Gordon.
No.
Can we even look? Can we look at his points? Has he gotten anything?
Last
Is he
week
even
he
a
got
player?
some points. 38 running back. He got 11 last week.
Oh, he's at 11 and 14.
Yeah.
But then you have those. Yeah.
The negative 1.2 game.
Yeah.
That's because the Mr. Fumble man, he fumbles and he's out.
He's out.
You get a fumble, he's done. Yeah, that is a pretty terrible start. That is a rough one to put in and feel good about.
But, like, who's he going to put in? CEH?
Or Kareem Hunt, right? I mean, like,
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who else did he have?
He could just put
Oh
in
my.
Kenneth Walker and know that at least he's not going to get negative 1.2 points.
True.
Sure.
Very
Yeah.
true.
awesome. What do you think?
Yeah, I got Steve here. I think pretty handily on this one here too.
Yeah. I unfortunately have you too.
I think one thing I'm kind of worried about going to the end of the season is the fact that Mostert was playing really well, and they brought in Jeff Wilson, and
Mhm.
now Jeff Wilson is getting more runs. They
Yeah.
got rid of that third down back at Edmonds, and now Wilson's just kind of taking over. He gets more,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll be an interesting backfield to play out, but right now it does seem like more Jeff Wilson's backfield.
especially since what's up with Chase? Who's going to be my flex? You know, I got
Mm-hmm.
the best running back in the league, Ramondre and Kamara, and so my flex becomes a tough spot. But yeah.
Yeah.
And it looks like that's everything for this week. You guys have any added thoughts before we finish this pod out?
I did have one more that I was saving for the segment we cut.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
This is gonna make Paul feel a little bit better because I was gonna shit on someone else's drafting.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I need to make myself feel a little bit better.
Yeah.
At one point in the third round, Mark Andrews, Nick Chubb, Mike Evans, and Michael Pittman were all the next picks that happened. And with all those players on the board, Dan selected Cam Akers.
That is great. That actually, I didn't even think about that. That's
Yeah.
possibly one of the worst draft picks because he is actually not even startable.
Yeah.
And he's on waivers now, and nobody wants him.
Yeah.
But I did also drop Travis Etienne this year, so also
Yeah.
an idiot.
But when you dropped him, he wasn't playing, and yeah.
I lay awake at night thinking what was going in my head when I dropped Travis Etienne. My whole season is different right now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And I was able to get a tight end because of it. I mean, I picked him up. I was like, oh my gosh, ETN's here. I couldn't believe I got him. But
Like, I think some decisions you make, and like at the time they're good decisions, they don't pan out.
yeah.
That decision was a bad decision at the time.
Yeah.
Well,
Like,
and
it was-
I'll go back to like when drafting. The worst decision I made this year, which would have changed everything, is I thought Barkley was going to be so good. I thought he was going to be amazing, and I didn't have the heart to take him at 11, and I took Kamara. And I didn't think Luke was going to take him the pick after me. I thought I might be able to get him in the back end, and that one really hurt. That I couldn't get Saquon. That one hurt a lot. But all right. Anything else, boys?
I did want to not completely disrespect Luke, so I thought I would share that I did add another picture there for him here. So,
A save shirt too. Let's go.
Luke,
That is awesome.
You are not cursed. You do have another picture, so now you have no excuse if you lose this week.
What will the picture be next week? But
How many more NASA pictures did he have?
But yeah, a lot of shifts, a lot of stuff going to happen this week. The next pod is going to be really telling on who's going to actually get this playoff spot.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll go more deep into the ending schedule and make some real
Yeah.
looks and predictions.
So, just so you guys know, we may have an early pod next week or a very late pod, like a Sunday night or something like that. We'll have to see because of the holiday weekend, but keep looking forward and, yeah.
keep fighting for first.
Exactly.
All right, we'll see you guys next week. Go USA!